Divine Guidance Unveiled. The Story of the Prophet Musa. Musa is one of the greatest Rasul Islamic prophets, and interlocutor of Allah. He was a descendant of Jacob and a brother of Harun. He is identified with the biblical prophet Moses. Allah said, "Verily, Pharaoh ascended the earth and divided the nations, enslaving them, killing babies, and depriving their wives of honor. Verily, he was one of those who created confusion." These enslaved tribes were the sons of Israel from the line of Allah's prophet Jacob, son of Ishaq, son of Ibrahim, friend of Allah. They were the best people on earth at that time. Pharaoh used them for the dirtiest and hardest jobs, killed their children and humiliated their women. This is how the sons of Israel were oppressed because of what was known from the prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, that a young man would come into his family who would destroy the kingdom of Pharaoh. This was known to the Israelites, and this prophecy reached the Pharaoh. And he commanded to kill every newborn boy in order to save his kingdom. But the precautions are in vain before the injunction. Indeed, it was the will of the Almighty that this child should grow up in the house of Pharaoh and eat his food. When Musa's mother became pregnant with him, she, knowing that Pharaoh kills newborns, concealed the pregnancy. And Gd concealed her pregnancy. And when the baby came into the world, she was at a loss. And she lived on the banks of the Nile. The Almighty gave her the idea to prepare a chest, and whenever she nursed her child, she would put it in the chest and tie it down in the river. But one day she forgot to tie up the chest, and the child was carried away by the waters of the Nile. The river brought the chest to the palace of Pharaoh, which also stood on the bank of the Nile. It is said in the Quran, and the family of Pharaoh picked it up. Pharaoh's wife, the queen of Egypt, saw the baby's shining face and instantly felt love for him. Pharaoh wanted to kill the child as well. But his wife said, "Joy of my eyes and yours, do not kill him. Perhaps he will do us good," is what the Quran says about it. And verily, she benefited from him, for thanks to Musa the queen believed and Allah brought her into paradise. When Pharaoh's wife wanted to feed the child, he refused to accept anyone else's breast. So she rushed off with him in her arms to find a breastfeeder whose breast he could accept. Musa's sister recognized him and said, "Shall I point out to you the family that will undertake to nurse him and that will be kind to him?" So the Quran says. So they went to his mother. As soon as she took Musa in her arms, he accepted her breast. The queen and her entourage were overjoyed, but of course they did not know that they had united the mother with her own child. Pharaoh provided Musa's mother with everything she needed: money, food, and clothes. That is how the Almighty brought Musa back to his mother. Here is how it is said in the Quran, "And we brought him back to his mother, that she may be glad and not be grieved, so that she may know that Allah's promises are the truth." That is how Musa grew up under the care of Allah in the house of Pharaoh, eating the best food and wearing the best clothes. When Musa reached the age of 40 years old and his temper and body matured, Allah bestowed upon him wisdom and knowledge, prophecy and a message. One day Musa saw an Egyptian beating a Jew who asked Musa for help. Musa interceded for him and struck the Egyptian, who died from the blow. Fearing retaliation from Pharaoh and the Egyptians, Musa was forced to leave Egypt. He set out in the direction of Midian. This is the city where the Most High destroyed the people of the prophet Shu'aib. There Musa got married, with the proviso to shepherd the bride's father's sheep as mahar for 10 years. At the end of this term, Musa receives orders from Allah to go to Pharaoh with a command from the Most High. However, Pharaoh became arrogant, resisted and disobeyed Musa's arguments, and decided to commit violence against the truth. The Creator commanded Musa to gather his people and go to Sham, present-day Syria. Pharaoh with his army rushed in pursuit. And he overtook Musa's people on the seashore, where one of the greatest miracles of Allah on earth took place. Musa stood on the shore, with the mountains on his right and the mountains on his left, and with Pharaoh behind him. And he said, "Verily, my Lord is with me, he will guide me." The Almighty prompted Musa to strike the water with his cane, and the sea parted, making 12 passages. The children of Israel set out along the bottom of the sea. Pharaoh and his army rushed after them. But as soon as Moses' people came ashore, the waters of the sea parted and sank Pharaoh and all his army. Thus the Almighty gave victory to his messenger and his people, and he destroyed Pharaoh and his army. This great miracle took place on the 10th day of the month of Muharram. And in gratitude to the Creator, Musa and his people fasted on that day. When Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, arrived in Medina, he saw that the Jews were fasting on the 10th of the month of Muharram. And he asked them, "What is this day on which you are fasting?" They answered, "It is a great day, the day on which the Most High saved Musa and his people and sunk Pharaoh and his army. And on this day Musa fasted as a sign of gratitude. And we are fasting." To which the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "We are more worthy and closer to Musa than you." He fasted on that day and commanded the others, "When the day of Ashura comes, fast on the day before it or on the day after it." On the significance of fasting on this day, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Fasting on the day of Ashura is atonement for the sins of the past year." The story of Musa is often mentioned in the Quran as an example and admonition to people.